Already, mic testing, mic testing. Okay, perfect. Let me go to my main camera. Already, we're live. And as you guys can tell by the title and thumbnail, today I'm going to be working on the types of inheritance in C++. Last stream, I did go over the C++ basic inheritances. Okay, so let's go to my gameplay screen. Okay, there we go. Then let's say something like, let's say, I'm live, exclamation. Okay, let's see. Listen up, people. Today is not just another day. Today is not just another stream. Today is a war against ignorance, against confusion, against every bug that ever mocked you. The battlefield, inheritance in C++. The goal to master every type, single, multiple, multi-level, hierarchy, and the mighty hybrid until you can code them in your sleep with one hand tied and the other compiler trembling before your might. Okay, remember this, pupil. A master is not who never fails, but one who never stops sharpening their blade. Guys, this was not said by Sarah Sensei. That said, now we start with single inheritance, the foundation of all others. Understand this and the rest will bow before you. Single inheritance. Yo, howdy HHBB. I appreciate you joining this stream. Okay, the base class, parent, the derived class, the child, the child inherits from all the accessible properties and methods from that parent. Example in human terms, a creature class might have energy. Okay, dragon class can inherit from the creature class. Oh, I honestly did this yesterday. I think I have a good idea on how this works. Last stream, I mean. Okay, the public keyword means the derived class keeps the public stuff public. Okay, it's like saying I'll take what my ancestors gave me and I'll make it my own without hiding it. Now, let's start this off with a instruction-based question. Okay, so our question is to create a base class called vehicle with a private speed variable and methods too. Okay, set the speed, get the speed, so I gotta add setters and getters, display the speed, then create a derived class called car that inherits from the vehicle, adds a new private variable called fuel, that has methods to set and display the fuel, and a method called drive that decreases fuel by 10 and prints both speed and fuel left. Finally, in our main function, make an object of car, set its speed and fuel, and simulate driving twice. Okay, now go, people, write that code and show me your work. Honestly, guys, I did work on this last stream. Not unlike the types of inheritance, but this first kind of inheritance, I forgot what was it called again. Okay, single inheritance, and this is the code from last stream because I didn't have time to work off stream whatsoever. That said, let's go with the controller, delete everything, and let's start off by including a pair of ankle braces. Okay, there we go. Let's start off by including a pair of ankle braces. I want to include IO stream. Next up, let's read the instructions. So it says to create a vehicle class. So I'll go with something like class vehicle. Okay, and then I'll add a pair of curly braces and then do something with a private speed data member. Okay, with a private speed variable and public methods. Okay, so I'm assuming the speed is going to be a double because speed could be 12.5. Maybe I'll keep it to be an integer. That said, let's go with something like private. Yeah, I'm pretty sure speed should be integer, so I'll go with a integer variable type called speed, which is going to be not set to anything. Okay, there we go. And then let's go ahead and publicize everything and create a constructor. Before creating a constructor, I honestly might go ahead and create a comment that says constructor. There we go. Okay, now for my constructor, I'm going to be creating a constructor for my vehicle class. So I'll call my vehicle class. Howdy, Tim Billy. Is that how you pronounce your name? Tim Billy. I appreciate you joining this stream. Okay, and then I'll go with a pair of parentheses, and then let's see. My vehicle's constructor is going to be needing a parameter of speed, and then I'll go with a pair of curly braces. Oh, cool. We do multi-threads. Honestly, I haven't started multi-threads yet, but I am working on the types of inheritance in C++. Does that include multi-threading and everything? Because there was one thing called multi-inheritance as well. Okay, that said, I'm going to be initializing my data member, so I'll go with something like this. Private speed data member is going to be equal to my speed parameter ending with a semicolon. And that's honestly pretty much it for my constructor. Next up, it says set the speed, so we'll need a setter, and then get the speed, we'll need a getter as well. So I'll add a comment that says something like setters. Okay, for my setters, I'm going to go ahead and create a void method or a void setter called something like set speed. There we go. with a pair of parentheses, my setter is going to be having a parameter of something like s, which is going to be speed, and then a pair of curly braces. Okay, now let's go ahead and add a if statement. Honestly, I'll go with something like if a pair of parentheses, if my speed or while my speed is greater than 0, I'm going to do something. I'm going to set my speed, okay, I'll go with something like speed to be equal to my s parameter ending with a semicolon. Honestly, let's change this to be something like greater than or equal to. There we go. And now let's go ahead and create a getter as well. So I'll add a comment that says getter. Vehicle, V-E-H-I-C-L-E. Guys, did I spell it wrong? V-E-H-I-C-L. Oh, guys, I need to learn spellings, guys. My spellings are awful. Okay, let's go with something like a vehicle. There we go. Okay, next up, I'm going to be creating a getter now. So let's go with something like getters. Hiding Heavenly Star, appreciate you joining the stream. Okay, next up, I'm going to be creating a, let's say, integer getter called something like get speed. With a pair of parentheses, although I won't be having, my getter won't be requiring any parameters. That said, I'm going to be returning my speed data member ending with a semicolon. Okay, perfect. Okay, next up, display the speed. So let's go ahead and create methods now. Maybe I'll remove that extra space from here. Then let's go ahead and create our methods now. For my methods, I'm going to be creating a display method. So I'll go with something like a void display speed method. There we go. With a pair of parentheses and a pair of curly braces, my method won't be having any parameters, although it is going to be having a standard console output with an insertion operator that says something like your current speed. Okay, your current speed is, I'll go in a new line, add another insertion operator. This is going to be my speed data member with a / new line ending with a semicolon. Okay, that's pretty much it for my, my methods, or like, my speed class. Next up, let's go ahead and read the next instruction. So it says, then create a derived class called car. Okay, so let's go ahead and create a child class now. My child class is going to be called class. Okay, I mean, it's going to be called car. Okay, why am I actually enjoying this, lol? That actually means a lot to me. I appreciate that, Heavenly Sarah. Okay, let's see. So I go with something like a class car. Okay, let's read the instructions. It says it needs to inherit from my vehicle class. So I'm going to do something like class car, and it inherits from my public vehicle class. So I'll go with public vehicle. There we go. And then I'll go with a pair of curly braces. Okay, next up it says inherits from the vehicle class, adds a new private data member called fuel. So let's go ahead and private everything. So I'll go with something like private, and it is going to be having a private data member, which is going to be an integer of fuel. There we go, ending with a semicolon. And then let's go ahead and publicalize everything. Okay, now I'm going to be creating a constructor as well, but since I am inheriting from my vehicle class as well, I will be adding the constructor of my vehicle class too. Okay, let's call this something like a constructor. There we go. Okay, do you like C++? Honestly, yeah, C++ is pretty fun. Okay, that said, let's go ahead and call my car class, or create a constructor for my car class. That's going to be requiring two parameters. The first parameter is going to be a integer of fuel. Okay, and the second parameter is going to be, let's say, something like speed. Okay, I'll go with something like integer of speed as well. Okay, and that's pretty much it for my cars constructor. I might go in a new line, add a colon space. Now let's go ahead and add a constructor for my vehicle class. My vehicle class is going to be having a parameter of speed. Okay, with a pair of curly braces. So you remember me with Howdy Mohammed, I appreciate you joining the stream. Honestly, I do remember you. It's been a while. Okay, next up, let's see. Okay, let's go ahead and initialize our fuel method now. Did I spell fuel correct? Okay, perfect. I spelled it wrong here. There we go. Okay, now I'm going to do something like this. Private fuel data member is going to be equal to my fuel parameter ending with a semicolon. Okay, perfect. There we go. Okay, next up, let's go ahead and create methods now. So I got to create a method that displays the fuel. So let's go ahead and add a comment that says something like methods. This method is going to be a void method called something like display fuel. Okay, display fuels. Or I might just go with display fuel and then I'll add a pair of parentheses and a pair of curly braces. Inside of my display fuel method, I will have a standard console output with an insertion operator that is going to say something like, let's see, fuel left, fuel left. And then I'll go in a new line, add another insertion operator. This is going to be my fuel data member with a / new line ending with a semicolon. Okay, perfect. Next up, I gotta create another method called drive that decreases fuel by 10 and prints both speed and fuel left. Okay, so let's go ahead and create another method called drive. This is gonna be a void method since I won't be returning anything. Okay, I'm gonna call this drive, add a pair of parentheses, and then a pair of curly braces. So my drive method must decrease my fuel by 10, so I'll do something like my fuel data member is gonna decrease by 10, ending with a semicolon, and then prints both the speed and the fuel left. So I could go with something like a standard console output with an insertion operator that says something like speed left. Okay, I'll go with, let's say, another insertion operator of my speed data member. Honestly, I might go with get speed getter with a pair of parentheses to invoke the function a / new line ending with a semicolon. Then let's go ahead and do that for my fuel as well. So I'll go with a standard console output with an insertion operator, pair of double quotes that say something like fuel left. Okay, so fuel left with another insertion operator of my fuel data member, ending with a ending with a / new line and a semicolon. Okay, perfect. Okay, next up, that's pretty much it for my derive / child class as well. So let's go ahead and end that with a semicolon. Then let's go ahead and create a main function. So I'll go with something like integer main, add a pair of parentheses, and then a pair of curly braces. Now, for my main function, I gotta create an object of car, set its speed and its fuel, and simulate driving twice. So let's go ahead and create a let's say class called car, which is going to be inheriting from my cars class. So I'll go with car class, and I create a object which is going to be having two parameters. What other parameters did I need? I needed a fuel parameter and a speed parameter. Let's say my car has 100% fuel and the speed is something like 30 miles per hour, ending with a semicolon. Okay, then set its speed and fuel and simulate driving twice. So I'll go with something like car dot let's say drive. Okay, so I'll go with car dot drive, and since I gotta drive twice, I'll go with car dot drive again. There we go, ending with a semicolon. And then lastly, I'll go with something like car dot display fuel. Okay, honestly, I don't need to display fuel because like my drive method does display it. So let's go ahead and return 0, ending with a semicolon. If I hit Control S to save the code and run the command, let's see what happens. Yo, wake, how are you doing, Venture? I appreciate you joining this stream. Okay, let's see. Okay, it's going to say something like speed left 30, fuel left 90, speed left 30, fuel left 80. Okay, perfect. Let's go with the controller Control C. This was honestly pretty easy because I did work with this. I did work on this last stream as well. That said, I'll go with something like Shift Enter and say something like Sensei. This honestly felt easy because I did work on this last stream. What is the next? What is the okay, let's go ahead and ask what is the next topic. The next type question mark. Maybe we could work on that dot dot dot. Okay, can you explain what you're doing? I lost my connection and I couldn't follow. Honestly, basically, I am just working on the types of inheritance C++. The one that I was currently doing is like single inheritance. There are like a few types. I actually forgot the names. The next is like multi-level inheritance. I just saw it from here. That said, good. You remembered. You're training people. Clean structure, correct constructor chaining, proper access through getters. I can feel the discipline in the code. Now, since single inheritance bends to your will that we just completed this stream and went through that last stream as well, it's time to ascend multi-level or multi-level inheritance. This is where inheritance goes down through generations. Okay, a child inherits from a parent and then another child inherits from that child. So it's like grandparent, parent, child, and like child's child. Okay, it's like a family bloodline of powers. So creature dragon. Okay, so creature inherits, my fire dragon child class inherits / derives from my dragon class, whereas my dragon class derives from my creature class. Okay, Do web dev someday. Honestly, that does sound pretty cool. I do want to try that. Why do you GPT sensei and nice spellings, bro? Guys, I need to work on my spellings. Okay, each level builds on the previous one. The last class gets everything from all its ancestors as long as they were inherited publicly. Concept recap: base class, middle class, derived class. Okay, so this isn't called my derived class. That's called derived class, that's called base class, that's called middle class, and that's called base class. Okay, next up, let's see. Now, time to prove your worth, pupil. Yo, hiding Ayush, I appreciate you joining the stream. Okay, for instructional based question, I gotta create a base class called creature with protected data type, which is integer. The reason it is like a protected data type is because only the classes that inherits from my creature class can have access to my protected data member of energy, or my creature class can have access to this. Okay, a constructor to set it, a method display energy, okay, and then a derived class called warrior that inherits from the creature class, adds a protected integer of strength as well, okay, and then I create a constructor to initialize both energy and strength, and then a method called display status that shows both. A final class called knight that inherits from warrior class, okay, so this is the grandparent class, that's the parent class, that's the child class. Okay, adds a new property called armor, has a constructor to initialize all three energy, strength, and armor. A fight method, okay, that decreases energy by 10 and prints all stats. Okay, why do you call GPT Sensei something like that, guys? I think it's firstly when I did start that, it did sound a bit funny and like it was like kind of fun as well because I usually call my chat GPT plus Sensei to like add a character as well, or like I feel I'm starting to add complete AI. That said, what do you want to do after inheritance? Honestly, I haven't like looked into that. Although I do have like a whole roadmap, I just do follow that. Okay, please help me. I'm new. Want to start? Honestly, do you want to like start with C++ or like Python? Because I have streamed for both in my channel. I have like a lot of streams on those topics. Okay, he managed to start now, bro. There's no better time. I actually completely agree with that. Okay, but I'm confused. There's so many things to learn. Honestly, just start off with the very basics and eventually climb your way up. Many people do recommend to like do big projects and you'll eventually learn the basics. Although I'm not like saying that that's not actually true. For some people that does work. Although for me, apparently, like me learning from the basics and slowly moving my way up is the best way to learn. I would highly recommend you to like just keep on learning and like eventually figure out which like the way that actually suits you in learning. And once you find that, learning is actually going to be pretty easy. Okay, lastly, I gotta create a main function, create a knight object, display all its stats. Okay, call the fight twice and then show final energy. Okay, perfect. Let's go Sensei slash ChatGPT here. Okay, okay, I only know basics of C++. Actually pretty good. Like, that's a pretty good start in that case. Okay, so let me go ahead and go with the controller, delete everything. And let's start off by including a pair of ankle braces. I want to include IO stream. And then let's see, maybe I'll go with the control C. There we go. Okay, now let's read the instructions. So the first instruction says to create a base class called creature. So let's go ahead and create a class called creature. There we go. Okay, with a pair of curly braces, my creature class is going to be having a protected data type called energy, which is going to be an integer. So let's go ahead and create a protected data type. Okay, and then I'll go ahead and create a data member called energy. Okay, ending with a semicolon. And then let's go ahead and publicalize everything. Okay, a constructor to set it, a method called display energy. Okay, learn from the basics, best thing you can do. Honestly, it does make sense. I'm interested in AI slash machine learning, cybersecurity, how computers work, and also want to research also with some HTML, CSS. That actually sounds pretty cool. Honestly, if you are interested in like AI slash machine learning, I would recommend to learn Python because that is like one of the best languages for AIs. That said, why don't you use using namespace std? The reason I actually don't use using namespace std is like because many of you guys did say me that eventually in bigger project, not prefixing with std could cause name conflict, so it is like a pretty bad practice to use it. Okay, I frequently jump from one thing to another. How to avoid that? Honestly, the best way to avoid that is by not jumping and just doing one thing. Okay, that said, let's go with something like a constructor. There we go. Okay, I'm going to be creating a constructor for my creature class, so I'll go with something like creature, add a pair of parentheses. My constructor will require a parameter of energy. Okay, I'll go with something like energy, then a pair of curly braces. Now let's go ahead and initialize my this energy's data member to be equal to my energy parameter ending with a semicolon. Okay, algebra with coding. Honestly, guys, algebra does sound pretty fun. Okay, next up, let's go ahead and read the next instruction. It says I gotta create a method called display energy. So let's go ahead and add another comment that says something like methods. So I'll go with something like methods. And then I'm going to be creating a void method called something like display energy. Okay, with a pair of parentheses and then a pair of curly braces. Man, this chat is so friendly and helpful. I honestly appreciate you guys for that. Okay, so let's go with something like a standard console output with an insertion operator. This is gonna say something like energy left. Okay, then I'll go in a new line, add another insertion operator of my energy data member with a / new line ending with a semicolon. Do you watch anime? Honestly, I used to watch like a lot of animes. I feel like I had like a favorite anime. It was like the Dragon Ball series. I did watch like all these series like about like 18ish times, but later I eventually stopped because I did get a little busy. That said, I'm currently watching like Pokemon with my sister. Okay, that's it. I gotta create a derived class called warrior that inherits from creatures. So let's go ahead and create a derived class. We'll go with something like class. Okay, called warrior. Let's go with something like warrior. Okay, with a pair of curly braces. Honestly, before I go with a pair of curly braces, my warrior class does inherit all the public all the public attributes or all the public content of my creature class. Okay, and then I'll go with a pair of curly braces. How do you justify or appreciate you joining the stream? By the way, my PC is like freaked up, so I'm learning physics and math because I want to prepare SAT because I want to study the US/Canada. That actually sounds pretty cool. Good luck with that, Ventry. Okay, do you know any website to learn C++ for free? Honestly, I do use just ChatGPT/Sensei to like learn C++ or any programming/anything in general. I feel it's pretty helpful when we're like trying to cover the basics up. Until I fix my PC, I can continue. Oh, nice. You cleared. All the best. Okay, so next up, let's go and read the instructions. So I gotta create a protected data member called strength for my warrior class. So I'll go with something like a protected data member, which is going to be an integer of strength. There we go, ending with a semicolon. And then let's go ahead and publicize everything. Now, I gotta create a constructor to initialize both my energy data member from my creature class and my strength data member from my warrior class. So let's go ahead and create a constructor for my warrior class. So I'll go with warrior, add a pair of parentheses. My warrior's constructor will require two parameters. The first parameter is going to be strength. There we go, which is an integer of strength. The second is going to be an integer of energy. Okay, and then I'm going to be going in a new line, adding a colon, and creating a constructor from my creature class as well. So I'll go with something like creature. Okay, add a pair of parentheses. My creature class will require a parameter of energy. So there we go. Okay, and this is going to be the energy that my user sets here. Okay, next up, I'll go with a pair of curly braces to initialize my strength data members. So I'll do something like this strength data member is going to be equal to my strength parameter ending with a semicolon. Okay, could you help me to get my first programming code for Forex Market? Honestly, I haven't like heard of Forex Market. %123 free code camp. Honestly, I have like heard of that. That does sound pretty good. Okay, I have a nice gaming PC, but I'm dumb. Honestly, I'm not dumb. I think that we should just like move on because like when I did start learning programming in general about like 142 days ago, guys, I felt that dumb because I used to like spend like 10 hours or 11 hours on Discord every single day. That's it. How to access private data members from derived classes? Honestly, I don't think that we can access private data members. Although I could like ask Sensei/ChatGPT. Oh, we could access that using getters and setters. My bad, guys. We can access those using getters and setters. Okay, next up, I gotta add a constructor, did that, and then create a method called display status that shows both. So let's go ahead and create methods now. So I'll go ahead and add a comment that says something like methods, and honestly, I might add a comment that says constructors here, so I'll go with something like constructor. There we go. Okay, for my methods, I'm going to be going and creating a display method. So let's go ahead and create a void display strength method. Okay, display status. There we go. With a pair of parentheses and then a pair of curly braces. Keep it up, bro. I appreciate you, entry. Okay, then inside of my display statuses method, I gotta show both my strength parameter and my energy parameter. Do you have an indicator for Forex market? Honestly, I haven't like heard of Forex market. Okay, that's it. I'll go with a standard console output with an insertion operator. Okay, and I'm going to be printing something like strength, okay, with a colon, and then I'll go with an insertion operator of my strength data member with a forward slash new line ending with a semicolon. Then let's go ahead and add another standard console output with an insertion operator. This is going to be my energy. There we go, with another insertion operator of my energy data member with a forward slash new line ending with a semicolon. Okay, perfect. And that's pretty much it for my warrior class. Let's go ahead and end that with a semicolon. What got you into programming? Honestly, I actually don't know what actually got me, because I did like forget. Probably because I did want to create like a programming series or maybe test like what happens if we're consistent in programming. Because I actually did forget. I actually don't even know why did I go into programming. I think it's fun, that's why. Okay, next up, let's go ahead and create another class called Knight that inherits from my warrior class. So I'll go ahead and create a class that, called a Knight, okay, that inherits all the public content from my warrior class. So I'll go with something like warrior, okay, with a pair of curly braces. Now, inside of my warrior class, I gotta create a new property called armor. Okay, is it gonna be a protected property or like what? Okay, person 123 versus code according to me. I see personal choice, but many people use C++. I meant use VS Code. Honestly, I do use VS Code as well. There's not such a thing as there's not such a thing called best IDE. Honestly, that does make sense. When I was actually learning Python, I used to use PyCharm. I did feel like that was pretty fun. Okay, now let's go ahead and create. I'm assuming I gotta create like a protected data member. So I'll go with something like protected. Maybe integer, because it doesn't specify to create a protected or anything. So I'll just go with a public. So let's go ahead and publicize everything. Honestly, everything is like public by default. That said, has a constructor that initializes all three: energy, strength, and armor. So this is going to be a constructor. Constructor. Okay, now for constructor, I got into please use namespace std while you're learning. When you'll work on bigger projects, you won't use it, but right now it'll save you typing, and there's nothing important to get used to. Honestly, I feel like, because if I do usually type using namespace std, then eventually it would like mess with my actual coding, because like I wouldn't know where to add and where not to add std. So it is a pretty good practice to avoid using it. I use Anaconda for data science. Honestly, I have like heard of Anaconda, although I never went into it. I got into coding because I think it's fun, and video games are another reason. Honestly, it does sound pretty cool. Okay, I was trying to make programming code in Python for buy and sell indicator as per bank, institution, large investor. That actually sounds pretty cool. Bro, isn't C++ so hard? I feel C++ is actually it's actually pretty easy once we know the basics and we get used to the the syntaxes. STD is better. Honestly, it is better because it avoids name conflicts in bigger projects. Okay, that's it for my constructor. Let's go ahead and create a constructor for my Knight class. So I'll go with something like Knight, a pair of parentheses. My Knight class is going to be requiring three parameters. The first parameter is going to be armor. I did honestly forget to create something. Okay, honestly, I might go with something like maybe protected. So I'll go with something like protected. A protected data type called something like integer of armor, ending with a semicolon. There we go. Okay, what are you doing? Honestly, I am like learning the basics of C++. That's it. Today I'm working on content and like object-oriented programming, which is the types of inheritance. Last stream, I did go over the basics of inheritance. Okay, are you American citizen? Just curious. Okay, next thing, let's see. Let's go with something like a Knight integer. I'm gonna do something. Hold up, guys. Give me a sec. Let me just actually do something real quick. Okay, perfect. Alright, next up, let's go ahead and add a constructor. So my Knights class is going to be inheriting from my armor class. Okay, so I'll go with armor, and then I'll go ahead and add a comment that says something like, it's going to inherit from my strength and energy as well. So I'll go with something like integer of strength and integer of energy. Okay. Okay, there's no cool books on C++. Oh, I see. Did you make any projects? Honestly, I did make a project back when I had like a Python for 100 days. Although usually I do make projects and delete the code. Although I did save that code because that was my first ever functional in game. Okay, I'm new to this stream. Are you coding a game or something? I'm definitely gonna start watching your streams more. I appreciate you, Zeodex. Honestly, I'm not like currently like working on making a game. Although, what you call it, by the end of this series, my goal is to actually make a game in general which consists of AI logic in it. Okay, Persona 1 to 3, I don't think books are cool. Oh, I see. Okay, it's demo example of object-oriented programming. Okay, next up, let's go ahead and create a constructor for my, let's say, creature class and warrior class as well. So I'll go with something like creature class. My creature class does need a parameter of, let's see, let's go with something like creature. Okay, my creature class would need a parameter of, let's say, energy. So I'll go with something like energy. And then I'm going to be creating another constructor for my warrior class. Isn't this how we do it? Knight class, did I spell creature correct? Creature, okay, and then I'll go with something like warrior. Project ideas for C++. Honestly, I don't think I do have like project ideas for C++ just yet because I just started it. That's it. Did I spell energy correct? ENERGY. Okay, isn't this how we do it? I go with energy. I'm pretty sure that's how we do it. So my knight class, oh, it only inherits from my warrior class. Okay, wait, let me go ahead and add another inherit, see if that is how I pronounce it, of all the public content from my, let's say, uh, from my creature class as well. So I'll go with something like creature. Okay, next up, now now I'm allowed to use like my creature class. Okay, do I add like a comma here? Or is colon? Okay, why do I have like a red underline here? I come from JavaScript, so I don't know much about C++. Honestly, I do eventually want to try JavaScript. It does sound pretty fun. Hi, so we can have C++ in college and I joined late, so I don't know where to start off. Can you tell something? Honestly, I do have like a lot of streams. Like I think I have about 42 streams on C++ now where I did start with the complete basics. I do have a whole playlist of that in my channel. So you guys could like check that out because I did start as a absolute beginner in C++, moving from Python though. Okay, so I create a knight class that inherits from my warrior class. Okay, that inherits from my creature class. Oh, I spelled creature wrong. Let's go ahead and fix my typo. There we go. Does that remove the right underline? Okay, it still does not. I might have to check where I messed up. Okay, start what, bro? I mean, I am. It's tough learning C++. Honestly, it might be tough at the start, but then the more you like work with it, the easier it actually gets. Okay, so let's go with something like our warrior class, add a pair of parentheses. This is going to be my strength data member. Okay, then I'll go with a pair of curly braces. And should I add something here? Like, why does a colon not work? I think you'd need to call warrior class constructor, but I'm not sure. Honestly, I did call the warrior class constructor as well. Okay, bro, what course are you doing in college? And what's your... Honestly, I am like a freshman in college. That said, let's go ahead and initialize my data member. So I'll go with something like this. Armor data member is going to be equal to my armor parameter ending with a semicolon. That's pretty much it for my constructor. Next up, let's read the next instructions. So it says to add a new property called armor, create a constructor. I did that, and then I gotta create a fight method that decreases energy by 10 and prints all stats. So let's go ahead and create methods now. Maybe I'll add a comment that says something like methods. Hope to have an exam in 2 months. Honestly, good luck with that exam. Son, is that how you pronounce your name? Okay, what is the name of your college? Guys, I think I can't actually say that. That said, how do you get GPT to talk like, how do you get GPT to talk like it talks to you? Honestly, guys, I feel ChatGPT slash sensei is like my sensei, talks like a sensei. Okay, you need comma, not colon between the two inherited classes. Do I need, because I did add a comma, that did give me an error as well. Does this work? Oh, it does actually work. Okay, actually, this does make sense now. I appreciate you, ABC. That actually, okay, that makes so much more sense now. Okay, honestly, why do I have like a red underline here in that case now? Okay, these are my inherited classes. I do have a warrior class with strength. Okay, do I need to add something here? Bro, what's your age, may I know? Honestly, I am 17 years old. That's it. I am going to be turning real soon, guys. Okay, my birthday is on the January 5th. Okay, that's it. Let's go ahead and create a void fight class now. So I'll go with something of fight, add a pair of parentheses, and then a pair of curly braces. Okay, my fight class is going to be decreasing my energy by 10 and prints all stats. So I'm going to do something like my energy is going to decrease by 10, ending with a semicolon. And then let's go with a standard console output with an insertion operator. that prints my stats. So let's go ahead and print my stats. Okay, why does my energy have a red underline as well? I might have to also do Sensei. Okay, so I'll go with something like energy. Okay, so my energy is going to be my energy data member. Okay, there we go. With a forward slash new line ending with a semicolon. That's my energy. Next up, let's go ahead and add one for my strength as well. So I'll go ahead and add one for my strength. So I'll go with strength. Okay, with another insertion operator of my strength data member with another insertion operator of a forward slash new line ending with a semicolon. Lastly, let's go ahead and add another standard console output with an insertion operator of, let's say, my armor. So I'll go with something like armor with another insertion operator of my armor data member with a forward slash new line ending with a semicolon. Okay, which country you live in? I used to honestly answer that a lot, but many of you guys did say me to avoid saying that. What is this code? Honestly, I'm working on the basics of inheritance. Today's topic is like the types of inheritance. Hi, how are you doing, PY? I appreciate you joining the stream. How are you doing? I'm doing pretty good. How are you doing, PY? Okay, it energy of creature, not knight. It's energy of creature. Honestly, but my knight class is inheriting from my my creature class as well. So I think that should like work. I might ask that to Sensei. Although that said, that's pretty much it for my this class as well. This was my final class. Let's go ahead and end that with a semicolon. Then let's go ahead and create a main function. So I'll go with something like integer main, add a pair of parentheses and then a pair of curly braces. Many people at your age are probably addicted to gaming or games or something. What's your motivation or what drives you to code? Honestly, guys, I've actually never thought of that. I used to be addicted to Discord, but I did like think what would happen if I like instead of like staying on Discord for 11 hours, I spend that time actually like programming or something. Okay. Okay, let me hydrate my lips. It's kind of dehydrated. Is it diamond inheritance problem? Honestly, I am like working on the content of multi-inheritance or like the types of inheritance. This one is multi-inheritance. Okay, this question is based on multi-inheritance. That's it. I gotta create a main function and then create a knight object. So let's go ahead and create a knight object. So I'll go with something like knight, add a pair of parentheses. My knight object will need 3 parameters. Let's see, the first parameter is going to be armor, second is strength, third is integer. Let's say my knight has 50 armor, my knight has, let's say 100 strength and let's say 30 energy. Okay, and then I'm going to end that. Excuse me, guys, and then I'm going to end that with a semicolon. Where should I start with programming? Honestly, what do you actually prefer? Do you like, if you like prefer machine learning, like AI slash machine learning, I would recommend Python. Or in general, also, I would recommend Python because like Python is a pretty good language and it's pretty easy to learn as well. I didn't move from Python, so once you do know any basics or from any programming languages, I feel if you move on to some other language, it's maximum going to take about 3 months to get the gist of it if like you work on that language every single day. I just had to get used to the syntax of C++. Okay, that said, display its stats called fight twice and then show final energy. Okay, so let's go ahead and do something like knight dot, let's see, display its fight. So I'll go with something like knight dot fight, add a pair of parentheses to invoke the function. Did I spell it correct? K-N-I. Okay, let's fix my typo. There we go. Okay, so I go with knight dot fight, ending with a semicolon. Did I spell it wrong? K-N-I-G-H-T. Okay, there we go. That should be correct. Okay, let's end that with a semicolon and then I'll fight twice. I'll go with something like my knight object dot the fight method ending with a semicolon. Okay, and display their final energy. Display their final energy. Honestly, my fight method does display the energy, so I'll just go ahead and return 0 ending with a semicolon. Okay, you're watching your lives on school nights are the best, lol. Oh, I see. I appreciate that, PY. Okay, let's see. Yeah, man, I started quant training. Any suggestions to improve my progress? Honestly, I haven't like heard of quant. Oh, it's trading. I haven't like heard of quant trading. Although my best suggestion would be to like be consistent, because like if you're consistent in almost anything, it does always work out. I mean, it just keeps me holding. So I want to say thanks. I appreciate you, PY. That means the world to me, honestly. Okay, you really don't find lives like this anymore. Oh, I see. Okay, so let's go with the controller control C, copy that, get /ChatGPT here. I do have a small mistake. Let's go ahead and paste this, go with shift enter and say something like Sensei. I wrote this code the way I actually thought about the code although I think that I don't know the syntax. I don't need syntax for what? Let's think. Okay, I'm pretty sure I don't know the syntax for the knight inheriting from the warrior and also creature. I feel like I messed up there, question mark dot. Okay, God, I should actually fix my typos. Okay, let's see. People, you fought valiantly. Is that how I pronounce it, guys? I'm so off for the pronunciations. But you summoned two ancestors at once where a bloodline only needs one. Let me break this down like a sword strike so it sinks in deep. Your mistake, you wrote knight public warrior, so my knight class inherits from my the public content from my warrior class and the public content from my creature class. This means knight inherits from both warrior and creature, but warrior already inherits from creature, so now knight ends up with two separate creature parts, one from warrior and one directly. That's like a knight having two hearts, one beating out of rhythm. The right way for multi-level inheritance, the change should look like this. So creature inherits from warrior, that inherits from my knight. Oh, I see. You don't write two parents, you pass the inheritance down the line. So the correct version is knight. So the correct version is a class knight public warrior, and then in the constructor we go ahead and do something like oh wait, this actually does make sense. So I'll just need to inherit from my warrior class because my warrior class already inherits from my my creature class. Oh, that actually does make sense. I feel like Python is good for jobs and other language. I feel like Python is good for jobs and our other language is good for job and interviews. Huh, honestly, yeah, Python is pretty good, like, in general, because I did hear, like, Python is a pretty good language in general. Okay, so let's see. So, full fixed version, honestly, before, like, looking at this version, I'll give sensei/chatgpt here. That said, okay, let's go ahead and fix my errors. So, basically, where I messed up was my knight class can only inherit from my warrior class. The reason I don't inherit it from my creature class is because my warrior class already does inherit from my creature class. So let's go ahead and remove my creature class from here. I'll just go with warrior class that has a parameter of strength and energy. There we go. Okay, perfect. Okay, go shower. Honestly, guys, I've just showered. Okay, okay, you're done. You've done Python for like 100 days. Inheritance are roughly the same in two languages. Honestly, let's think about it. So basically, the way I used to inherit in Python is I used to go with something like, let's say, maybe I'll add a comment here. So actually, I might go in a new line and then add a comment. There we go. Let's go somewhere here. Okay, so for example, I used to do something like this. Let's say I have a knight class. My knight class does inherit. If I want to inherit like from two separate classes, I could do something like creature and maybe warrior as well. So I'll go with something like warrior. And this is going to be like capitalized for both. Let's go with something like warrior. Okay, so this is how I used to like inherit from my two classes, and then I used to like work on my code like down here. Although in C++ the syntaxes are different, but I think the main logic is kind of the same. Okay, Hitman is back in form. Okay, there's no difference in inheritance, Python and C++. Well, okay, next up, let's see. Okay, this should honestly basically be it in that case. If I hit Control S to save the code and run the command, let's see what happens. Instead of doing a constructor, you can do something like vehicle, const, standard string, brand, integer max. Oh, I should actually work with const as well, because like I did want to work with it. That's it, I did like forget about it. So energy 20. Okay, perfect. Let's go with a controller. Control C, copy that. I bet you've never inherited from two classes in Python for real projects. Honestly, I did. I didn't inherit like from multiple classes, because like when I did create my for my Python for 100 series, when I did create a game using Python, I had like 6 or 7 different classes. Like I had a class for my health bar, for my buff bar, for my skeleton, for my actual player, for my I think the other was dragon class or something. I did inherit like from multiple classes and like use self. Even I use the super and all that stuff. That said, I do need to review that. You probably never done that. I actually did that. Okay, multiple inheritance is much pain. I feel it's actually kind of easy in Python. That's it, huh? That's how it's done, people. Look at this masterpiece. Clean hierarchy, proper constructor chaining, and 2 chaotic double inheritance. Oh, guys, I actually remembered. The place that I did inherit from in Python was my game objects class and my move class. Because, like, all my objects in Python needed images, recs, and masks. So I created a separate class for that called the game object class. And the second thing that I'd need was x-axis, y-axis, x-axis velocity, y-axis velocity, and I think even jump strength. So I did have a separate class for that as well. Okay, that's kind of pointless. Composition is just better. Oh, I see. Is there just a way to check your Python code? Honestly, I do have like what you call it. If an entire series in the Python, you could like type like my under my channel the Python for 100 days series, the day 100. That live is like 5 hours long. You could like just go a little at the end of the live, and my code was pretty much done by then. That said, look at this masterpiece. Clean hierarchy, proper constructor chaining, and no chaotic double inheritance. You forge a true lineage now. Okay, so creature inherits. Okay, knight inherits from my warrior class. That inherits from my creature class. Okay, so that's how we read it. Each class adds its own traits like generations passing down strength. Creature gives life energy. Warrior adds might strength. Knight refines it with honor armor. Why is this perfect? You call the base constructor correctly. Okay, using warrior strength energy, which in turn calls creature energy. Okay, that's constructor chaining at its finest. You avoided multiple inheritance chaos, one clear bloodline. Your fight method accesses protected members perfectly. Now tell people before we move on to the next inheritance type, hierarchical, do you want to understand how to perform flows creature warrior knight? Honestly, let's say something like, Sensei, I feel like I understood that although I might need more practice, so can I get another instructional based question in this exact same level question mark? Guys, I didn't want to write that in caps. Okay, good. You should feel like you understood it, people, but if you want practice, then you'll earn it. Alright, listen carefully. So this is the instruction based question number 3. Same level, single inheritance. Single. Okay, I needed multi. Let's say something like, Sensei, I wanted multi-level inheritance didn't wanna use caps. Honestly, guys, I should work on my typos. I feel like my typos are getting awful. Okay, multi-level inheritance. Good. You're climbing the pyramid, not crawling at the base like an amateur. Alright, focus up. Let's make this clean and chaos-free. Instructional question, multi-level inheritance. You'll create 3 classes that demonstrates a proper multi-level inheritance chain. Base class person has protected string called name. Okay. Constructor to set my name, and then a method called show name that prints my name. Okay. And then I gotta create a derived class that derives or that inherits from my person class. Okay, it is called employee, which inherits from my person class, has a protected integer data member called employee ID, a constructor to set name and my employee ID, method called show employee that prints both name and ID. Okay, and then a third class that inherits from my employee class that inherits from my person class. Okay, has a private data member called variable, actually called department, and then a constructor to set name, employee ID, and department. Okay, and then I gotta create a method called show detail that prints all 3 name, ID, and department. Finally, in our main function, we create a manager object and display its full details using the show details as method. Okay, perfect. Let's get sensei/ChatGPT here. Okay, that's it. I'll go with a control A, delete everything. And let's start off by including something like, I don't know, maybe a pair of ankle braces, and then IO streams. I want to include IO stream. Next up, let's read the instructions. So it says create a base class called person. So let's go ahead and create a class called person, and then I'll add a pair of curly braces. Now, inside of my person class, I'm going to do something. My person class has a protected data member called name, so I'll go with something like protected. Okay, so protected data member called name. I'm assuming name is going to be a standard string. There we go. So I'll go with a standard string of name ending with a semicolon. And then let's go ahead and publicize everything and create a constructor for to initialize my data member of name. So I'll go with a comment that says constructor. Okay, and honestly, it's not that important to like write comments for everything, although it is a pretty good practice to add comments. Why is bro AI generated Among Us? Guys, I'm actually not AI generated. The funny fact is I just like created like a short like before I started the stream, that was like someone else even called me AI generated. Guys, I'm like, I'm actually a real person. Okay, let's see. Da-da-da. So I go with something like a constructor. Okay, maybe I spelled it wrong. There we go. Constructor. Okay, so I'm going to be creating a constructor for my person class with a pair of parentheses. Okay, my constructor is going to be consisting of a parameter of name. It's going to be a standard string of name. So I'll go with a standard string of name and then a pair of curly braces. Now let's go ahead and whatchamacallit, initialize my name data member. So I'll go with something like this standard string of name data member is going to be equal to my name parameter ending with a semicolon. Okay, did I spell something wrong? string of name, standard string. Okay, standard string. Did I spell something wrong? Okay, let's see. Okay, what is a constructor? Bro is. Okay, what is constrictor, bro? It is a snake, guys. I think I have a typo. Okay, I had a typo. My bad, guys. Okay, you sound gay, guys. I actually get that so much every single stream. That's it, guys. I'm actually not gay. I'm pretty straight. Okay, so person. That's percent. So I go with something like this: standard string string of name equals to name. It is correct. Give him a break, guys. Actually, you tell him, Aryan. Huh. Their standard string of name equals to name. Did I mess something up? I feel it's correct. This name equals to name. Oh, okay, guys. I'm actually so stupid. There we go. Guys, that was actually kind of silly. I should have remembered that. For some reason, I forgot that. Okay, next up, I gotta create a constructor to set name. What have you done, guys? Actually, whatchamacallit, guys. Sometimes I just actually forget what I have to do. Okay, next up, let's go all the way here. Okay, so I go with this name. Next up, let's create a method called show name. So I'll add a comment, include string. Honestly, I could like include string because I have like seen people including strings. Although I didn't like work on these strings as library. I love you, Vivek. Honestly, I appreciate that, Siddharth. Okay, let's go with something like methods. Okay, for my methods, I'm going to be creating a void show. Let's go with something like show name. Okay, show name method with a pair of parentheses and then a pair of curly braces. Okay, don't show name. Honestly, okay, may I ask why you're doing this? Do you have any plans in the future to build something or get into a job or whatever you're doing is great? Honestly, I don't think I have like any specific plans. Although eventually when I do grow up, I mean I am pretty grown up, but eventually I do want to either be a cybersecurity or like an AI engineer. But I might actually explore both topics and like see which I enjoy the most, and then I might go into that. Okay, that said, my show name method is going to be having a standard console output with an insertion operator that is going to say something like name. Okay, with another insertion operator is going to be my name data member with a / new line ending with a semicolon. Okay, next up, I got it. That's pretty much it for my base class. Now let's go ahead and create a derived class called employee. So I'll go with something like a class called employee. Okay, which inherits from my, let's say, which inherits all the public content from my person class. So I'll go with something like person because my employee is a person, and then I'll add a pair of curly braces. Now inside of my employees class, I'm gonna do something. So it says to create a protected data member, which is an integer of employee ID. So I'll go with something like protected. Okay, integer data member calls employee ID. Okay, so like all uppercase ID. There we go. Okay, ending with a semicolon. Okay, do you know how to reverse an array? Honestly, I did like whatchamacallit. I didn't have like a whole stream on reversing arrays. I think I do know that. Okay, next up, I'll go with something like public. Okay, what does C out mean, Vivek? Honestly, C out does mean console output and C in means like console input. Okay, output is basically the stuff that shows when I run the terminal. So when I run the terminal in my like, when I run the code in my terminal, which is somewhere right here, it's going to display my name and everything. Although if I had a console input on the other hand, I would need an extraction operator. For example, console input with an extraction operator, like that stuff. Okay, that would actually ask the user to type something. Okay, next up, I'll go ahead and publicize everything and create a constructor. So I'll go with something like a constructor. There we go. Okay, for my constructor, let's read the instructions. It says create a constructor to set both name and employee ID. Okay, so I'll create a constructor for my employee class. So I'll go with something like employee class, add a pair of parentheses. My employee class is going to be requiring two parameters. The first is going to be, let's say, something like my name. Okay, this is going to be a standard string of name. Okay, C out in C++ object for standard output and CN is for standard console input. Okay, so let's go with something like a standard string of name. The second is going to be an integer of my employee ID data member. So I'll go with something like employee ID. There we go. Okay, and then I'll go with a pair of curly braces. Honestly, before I go with a pair of curly braces, since I am inheriting from my public person class, I'm going to be creating a constructor for that as well. So let's go ahead and add a colon, a space. Okay, I want to add a constructor for my person class as well, since I am inheriting from my person class, which is going to be having a parameter of name ending with a semicolon. Honestly, I want to end it with a semicolon. I'll go with a pair of curly braces. Next up, let me go ahead and initialize my employee ID. So I'll do something like this. Employee ID equals to my employee ID parameter ending with a semicolon. Okay, perfect. Next up, I gotta create a method called showEmployee that prints both name and ID. Okay, so let's go ahead and add a comment called method. And honestly, it's not like important to add comments that I added every single time. Although the reason I do add it is because it is a pretty good habit to add comments, because like eventually in future when we look back to the code, we will be reading our comments to understand which block of code is like for what. Okay, let's see. So for my methods, I'm going to be creating a void show employee method. So I'll go with something like show employee method with a pair of parentheses and a pair of curly braces that prints both employee's name and employee's ID. So I'll go with a standard console output with an insertion operator. This is going to say something like name, okay, with another insertion operator of my name data member. I'll add another insertion operator of a / new line ending with a semicolon. If you're going to do all the object-oriented programming stuff, why not use initializer list? Honestly, I haven't like heard of initializer list. What does it like do? Okay, that's it. I'll go with another standard console output for my employee ID. Okay, my employee ID with another insertion operator of my employee ID data member with a / new line ending with a semicolon. Okay, perfect. That's pretty much it for my employee class as well. So let's go ahead and end that with a semicolon. And then I create a last class called manager. So I'm going to go with something like a manager class that inherits from my employee class. So I'll go with a comma. My manager class inherits all the public content from my employee class, which inherits from my person class. So my manager is, and then I'll add a pair of curly braces. So basically my manager is an employee and also a person, since my employee is a person, if that made any sense, guys. Are you following any tutorials? Honestly, I haven't like watched tutorials at all, like for C++ and even in Python in general. Because like I did watch like a few tutorials for like how to set VS Code, but most of you guys did help me on stream. That said, I mostly use ChatGPT/Sensei for the practice questions because I feel that's what helped me the most. Okay, ask GPT to review your code with initializer list. You'll see it's gonna change like 4 lines. Oh, I see. Okay, honestly, in that case, I might have initializer list in my roadmap. I might try it then actually. Okay, so for my manager class, I gotta create a private data member called department. So let's go with something like a private data member called something like department. I'm assuming department should be a standard string. So I'll go with something like standard string of department. There we go, ending with a semicolon. And then let's go ahead and publicize everything. So I'll go with something like public. Okay, can you please share your learning process? Honestly, all my streams is me actually learning because I don't have time to program off stream. So like whenever I do stream, this is like all the processes that I do use to learn, like write a code and then get Sensei/ChatGPT back here, review the code and go in another code, get explanation and all that stuff. Okay, next up, let's go ahead and create a constructor. So I'll go with something like constructor. Your manager gonna have a method called showEmployee, which doesn't make sense. Honestly, it's gonna have like a show detail method. Okay, let's see. So I gotta create a constructor for my manager class. So I'll go with something like manager. Okay, with a pair of parentheses, my manager class is going to be having 3 parameters. First is name, second is employee ID, third is department. So I'll go with something like, okay, a standard string of name, okay, and then I'll go with something like a integer of employee ID, and lastly another standard string, in case you guys can't see, okay, another standard string of, let's say, department. There we go. So I have three, whatchamacallit, I got like three data members, or like parameters. Okay, next up, let's go ahead and initialize my data member now. Although, actually, before I do initialize it, let's go in a new line and add a colon. Okay, since I am inheriting from my employee class, I'm going to be creating a constructor for my employee class as well. So I'll go with something like my employee class with a pair of parentheses. My employee class is gonna be having a parameter of my employee ID. So I'm gonna go with something like employee ID, ending with a semicolon. Okay, you know, you're inheriting from the employee is gonna have it. You're doing inheritance, but zero virtual methods. There's no point in that. Honestly, I see. Okay, just so I go with something like employee ID. Wait, did I like mess something up here? Employee. Okay, my employee class inherits from my employee ID. Huh. Okay, I won't go with a pair of. I won't go with a semicolon. Instead, I'll go with a pair of curly braces. Why do I have like a red underline here? My employee class does inherit my employee ID. Okay, and this shouldn't be an integer. It should just be my regular. Okay, can you give your opinion on CS50 course? Honestly, I haven't like tried that course. Bro, how late will you code until? Honestly, I might not stream for that long today. I might just stream for an hour more, like for another hour, because like I did actually get all my PC parts today, so I might actually look into that stuff. Okay, that said, I go with something like my employee ID. Okay, why do I get an error here? This should honestly work. My employee ID is an integer. The spelling is correct. Huh. Okay, I think I'll look into that in a bit. That's it. Please ask ChatGPT for virtual methods. There's no reason to use inheritance for model without virtual methods. Honestly, I don't actually know the concept of that, so like I wouldn't know what I need to expect learning. That's it. I am like going like, I'm not like moving all the way up. I'm like going slowly, taking like small steps, learning everything that comes. Whatchamacallit, that's in my roadmap, because my roadmap is like pretty beginner friendly. Okay, so I'll do something like, let's say this department data member equals to my department parameter, ending with a semicolon. Okay, remind the sensei to give you virtual methods and override, otherwise it's all pointless and better be written. Oh, I see. Okay, next up, I go with something like employee ID. Okay, honestly, I'm pretty sure this is how I do it usually. I just go with my name. So like name, okay, so I go with something like standard string of name and then employee ID. Okay, I might ask this part to sensei once I'm done with it. That said, let's go all the way back here. Okay, let's read the next instruction. I created a constructor. Okay, and then I gotta create a method called show details. So let's go ahead and create a few methods now. So I'll do something like methods. The first method is gonna be something like a void show details is method. There we go. With a pair of parentheses and then a pair of curly braces, my method is going to be printing all three data members, name, ID, and department. So let's go with something like a standard console output with an insertion operator. Let's say something like name with another insertion operator of my name, data member, with a / new line ending with a semicolon, and then another standard console output with an insertion operator of my employee ID, okay, with another insertion operator of my employee ID data member with a / new line ending with a semicolon. Whoops, this is going to be employee ID with a / new line ending with a semicolon. Lastly, another standard console output with an insertion operator. This is going to print the department, so I'll go with department. There we go, with another insertion operator of my department parameter with a / new line ending with a semicolon. Okay, the CS50 course is from Harvard University. It gives you a free course of C, Python, and SQL, as well as a certificate also. That actually sounds pretty cool. Okay, that's it. This is pretty much it for my class as well. Now let's go ahead and create a main function. So maybe I zoom in a bit. Then let's go with something like integer main, add a pair of parentheses, and then a pair of curly braces. My main function is going to be creating a manager object. So let's go with my manager class. That is going to be having a manager object. Okay, let's convert that to a lowercase m. With a pair of parentheses, my manager object is going to be having three parameters. First is going to be name. I'll keep the name to something like Sarah. Second, the employee ID. I'll go with 56. 543, I don't know. And lastly, let's see, I might go with something like a department. So Sarah is from the tech department. I'll go with something like tech. Uh, okay, maybe I'll go with something like tech. Okay, and then let's go with the pair of curly braces. Which class are you in? Honestly, whatchamacallit, I'm actually in college. I'm a freshman in college. That's it. I haven't like taken any programming courses whatsoever. Okay, so I pair of curly braces, and then let's see. I gotta create an object and display it, show details. So let's do something like my manager object. Okay, my bad, guys. I don't add a pair of curly braces here. I end up with a semicolon. Let's do something like manager dot show details. Add a pair of parentheses, ending with a semicolon. Lastly, let's go ahead and return 0. Okay, return 0. And guys, I'm pretty sure I will get an error because of this small mistake here. I don't like how to why should I get that though? How long will it take to complete this code? I'm actually done with this code. Actually, it might take a bit long because I do have a small mistake here. How long have you been programming? Honestly, I have been programming for about 142 days today. Okay, which college? Honestly, guys, I don't think I can like say which college because that'd be the same as like doxing myself out, guys. Okay, let's go ahead and paste this. Go with Shift Enter and say something like Sensei. I feel like I messed up a bit, but it looked correct for my manager class. Dot dot dot. Okay, let's see. A bit, pupil? That's like saying you may be tripped falling off a cliff. Okay, you were so close, but you mangled the inheritance constructor chain right at the end. Let's dissect this like a warrior sharpening their blades. Okay, here's what went wrong. Manager constructor, you wrote employee ID. Wrong, employee expects 2 parameters. Guys, I'm so stupid. Okay, then you did a tiny typo. Oh, okay, that actually does make sense. That was actually a pretty silly mistake. The reason I did get an error here is because my employee does require 2 parameters, a name and a employee ID parameter. Okay, so let's go with something like name. Let's do something like name and employee ID. There we go. Okay, next up, show details, DETAILS. Okay, perfect. Now if I hit Control S to save the code and run the command, let's see what happens. So it says something like name Sarah, employee ID 543, tech department. Okay, perfect. Let's go with a Control C, copy that, get sensei/chatgpt here. Okay, whoops, let me just shrink that a bit, get sensei there, maybe extend this a little from here. There we go. Okay, and maybe decrease this a bit from here. There. Okay, let's go ahead and paste this, go with Shift Enter and say something like sensei. I see dot dot dot. I feel so stupid. That was kinda silly dot dot dot. That said, I don't take credit for this question, although I did fix it dot dot dot. Okay, let's see. Okay, good. That's the attitude. There we go. That's the attitude of a true disciple. You recognized your mistake correctly. It corrected it cleanly and didn't let pride blind you. That's how a warrior of code sharpens their logic. You're right to take full credit, but you're right not to take full credit, but you should take pride in understanding exactly why the fix was needed. You didn't just patch code, you rebuilt the constructor chain in your mind. Now listen, people, this question tested multi-level inheritance and constructor chaining, and you handled both. That's solid ground. So here's what we'll do next. We'll forge a new multi-level inheritance challenge for you, the same level but different context, to see if you can truly handle the flow of a constructor. Okay, calls and data passing, ready for it? Or do you want me to explain what's happening internally with each constructor calling? Honestly, I do feel like I know what's happening internally. Which course are you currently in? Honestly, I'm currently not in any programming courses. That said, let's say something like, say, how doing Lutpi? I appreciate Lutpi. Is that how you pronounce your name? I appreciate you joining the stream. Okay, so I'll say something like Sensei. I feel like I understand what happens internally. So basically, one class inherits from the other class. Now that now the class 2 has both the traits of class 1 and class 2, and when class 3 inherits from class 2, it has the traits of both class 1, 2, and 3. So I think that's pretty much it, question mark. So can I get a instructional based question mark? Okay guys, I think I understand, but I just can't phrase slash type. Where are you from? Honestly, I used to answer that a lot, but maybe you guys did say me to avoid answering that. That said, good, you actually understood it. Yes, when class 3 inherits from class 2, it gains everything from class 2 and class 1 above it. You just climb the inheritance ladder like a true warrior. Alright people, here's your next instructional based question on multi-inheritance. Let's see if your understanding can hold under the pressure. So the question is, create a program that has 3 levels of inheritance. Base class called device has a protected data member called brand, which is a string, a constructor that sets brand, and a method called showBrand that prints the brand's name. And then I gotta create a derived class called smartphone that inherits from my device class, has a protected data member called storage, which is an integer, a constructor that says both brand and storage, a method called showSpecs that prints both the brand and storage. Honestly, I still don't know the meaning of specs, guys. Okay, that said, final device class gaming phone inherits from smartphone, has a private variable called refresh rate, which is an integer, a constructor that sets brand, storage, and refresh rate. Okay, a method called show details that prints all 3 details, brand, storage, and refresh rate. Finally, in our main function, create a gaming phone object and call show details. Show me in your code, pupil, and don't you dare let that constructor chain break, or I'll make you rewrite it 10 times in your sleep. Okay, let's get some C/GPT here. Okay, that said, so how's it going? It's going pretty good. How are you doing? Elahis, is that how you pronounce your name? Okay, next up, let's go ahead and include a probe ankle braces. I want to include IO stream, so I'll go with something like IO stream. Okay, and then let's read the instructions. So I gotta create a device class. So I'll go ahead and create a class called device. Add a pair of curly braces. My device class has a protected data member called brand, which is a string. So I'll go with something like protected. Okay, and then my protected data member is going to be a standard string of, let's say, brand, ending with a semicolon. Okay, Nature 9, honestly, are you the same person? Because honestly, I do appreciate you joining the stream, and I think I do remember you as well, guys. I actually remember so many of you guys, although my memory is kind of bad to like actually remember the complete names. Okay, that's it. Let's go ahead and publicize everything from here on out, and then I'll go ahead and create a constructor. There we go. Okay, for my constructor, I'm going to be creating a constructor that sets my brand or initializes it. So I'm going to create a constructor for my device class. My device class's constructor is going to be requiring one parameter, which is going to be a standard string of brand. Okay, then I'll go with a pair of curly braces. Now let's initialize it. So I'll do something like this: brand data member is going to be equal to my brand parameter, ending with a semicolon. This brand B, I spelled it wrong. There we go, brands. Okay, so this brand data member equals to my brand parameter ending with a semicolon, and then I create a method called showBrand that prints my brand's name. Okay, so let's go ahead and create a method. Here I'll go with something like a method's comment. I'm going to create a void method called something like showBrand with a pair of parentheses and then a pair of curly braces. Okay, now inside of my brand method, I'm going to be having a standard console output with an insertion operator. This is going to say something like my brand name. So I'll go with something like brand's name. Okay, maybe I'll go in a new line with another insertion operator of something like my brand data member with another insertion operator of a new line ending with a semicolon. Okay, perfect. That's pretty much it for my base class. Next up, let's create a derived / a child class called smartphone. So I'll create a class called smartphone, which does inherit all the public content of my device class. Okay, and then I'll go with a pair of curly braces. Okay, my derived class must have a protected data member called storage, which is an integer. So I'll go with something like protected. Okay, so I have a protected data member called storage, which is an integer. So I'll go with integer storage. There we go, ending with a semicolon. Then let's go ahead and publicalize everything and create a constructor as well. So it says create a constructor that says both brand and storage. So this is going to be called constructor. There we go. Okay, now inside of my constructor, I'll create a constructor for my smartphone first. So I'll go with something like smartphone. My constructor will require two parameters. The first is going to be, let's say, my brand. So I'll go with something like a standard string of brand. Standard string of brand. There we go. Okay, and then another one of a storage, which is going to be an integer of storage. There we go. Okay, and then let's go with the pair of curly braces. Honestly, before I go with the pair of curly braces, since I am inheriting from a device class, I'm going to be adding a constructor of my device class as well. And my device class's constructor does require one parameter of storage, so I'll go with something like storage. Okay, and basically this storage is the same as this storage right here. Okay, it requires storage. Okay, there's nothing that I messed up here, did I? STORAGE. Oh, it requires brand. Brand and storage. So this is going to be a brand. There we go. Okay, and then let's go ahead and add a pair of curly braces. What do you want to make? Honestly, I'm just learning the basics of like the types of inheritance in C++. That said, keep on your computer stuff, bro. I appreciate you, Kim. Okay, now let's go ahead and initialize my storage data member. So I'll go with something like this. Storage data member equals to my storage parameter ending with a semicolon. That's pretty much it for my constructors. Let's go ahead and create a method now. So the method that I will need is going to be something like show specs that prints both the brand and storage. So I'm going to be creating a void method called something like show specs. There we go. With a pair of parentheses and then a pair of curly braces. My show specs is method won't have a parameter, although it is going to print both my brand and my storage. So let's go ahead and add a standard console output with an insertion operator that says something like brand, okay, with another insertion operator of my brand data member with a /new line ending with a semicolon. And then I'll go ahead and add another standard console output with an insertion operator that prints my storage. So I'll go with something like storage, okay, with another insertion operator of my storage data member, okay, with a /new line ending with a semicolon. Okay, perfect. Let's remove that / there from there. Okay, and that's pretty much it for my second derived class. I'm going to end this with a semicolon. And then let's go ahead and create a final class called gaming phone. So this is going to be called a class gaming phone. So I'll go with something like gaming phone, which is going to inherit all the public content from my smartphones class that does inherit from my devices class. So basically my gaming phone is a smartphone and a device. Okay, then I'll go with a pair of curly braces. Okay, let's see. So I have a private data member this time called refresh rate. Okay, so I'll go ahead and create a private data member of refresh rate, which is going to be an integer. There we go. Ending with a semicolon. I'm programmer too. That actually sounds pretty cool, France. Okay, hi France. I appreciate you joining the stream as well. Okay, next up, I gotta create a constructor. Although before I do create a constructor, let's go ahead and publicalize everything. So I'll go with something like public. Okay, this is going to be called constructor. Okay, and then for my constructor, under it, let's see, it has a private variable called refresh rate, a constructor that says brand, storage, and refresh rate. So I'm going to create a constructor for my gaming class that is going to be requiring three parameters: a brand, a storage, and a refresh rate. My brand is going to be a string, so I'll go with a standard string of brand. Excuse me guys, I'm programming with Python. Honestly, that does sound pretty cool. I did have a Python for 100 series. Python is pretty fun. And then I'll go with storage, and then finally another integer of refresh rate. Okay, and then I'll go with the pair of curly braces. Now let's go ahead and initialize my refresh rate data member and a little bit of Java. Honestly, I haven't started Java yet, but I'm pretty excited to start it pretty soon. Okay, so I'll do something like this. Howdy mochi mochi. Okay, so I'll do something like this. Refresh rate data member equals to, let's say something like refresh rate parameter ending with a semicolon. Okay, perfect. Okay, why do I have like a red underline here? Let's see this carefully. Did I miss something? So I have a brand, I have a storage, I have a integer. Okay, the thing that I did mess up was, since I am inheriting from my smartphones class, I gotta add a constructor for my smartphones class as well. So I'll go ahead and create a constructor for my smartphone class with a pair of parentheses. My smartphone class, let's see how many parameters does it require. It needs two parameters, a brand and a storage. So I'll go with something like brand. The second one is going to be storage. There we go. What are you creating? Honestly, I am just learning the basics of C++. Today's content is under under inheritance. It's like the types of inheritance. This is the second type of inheritance I'm covering, multi-level inheritance. Last stream I did work over single inheritance. This stream I did work over single inheritance as well, although I did start with multi-level too. Okay, now let's go ahead and initialize this refresh rate. So I'll go with refresh rate equals to something like my refresh rate parameter ending with a semicolon. Okay, perfect. What game are you making? Honestly, I'm not making a game just yet. That's it. I am working on the basics first before I do move on to making games. That's it. I am going to be moving on to learning SDL as well. Kind of excited for that. Okay, and then I gotta create a method called show details. So let's go ahead and add a comment. Okay, I wish you the best. I appreciate you, Andrea. Is that your name, Andrea? Okay, this is going to be called something like show. Actually, methods. So I'll go with something like methods and then create a void method called something like show details. There we go, with a pair of parentheses and then a pair of curly braces. Now, under my method, I'm going to be having a static console output with an insertion operator that prints all three: my brand, my storage, and my refresh rate. So I'll go with something like brand. Okay, with another insertion operator of my brand parameter. There we go. With another insertion operator of a / new line ending with a semicolon. And then let's go with my storage as well. So I'll go with a standard console output with an insertion operator. This is going to be storage with another insertion operator of my storage data member. Okay, with a / new line ending with a semicolon. Lastly, I'll go with another standard console output with an insertion operator of my refresh rate. Okay, with another insertion operator of my refresh rate data member. So I'll go with something like refresh rate. Okay, with a / new line ending with a semicolon. Okay, perfect. That's pretty much it for my method. And pretty much it for my final class as well. Let's go ahead and end my class with a semicolon. And now let's go ahead and create a main function. So I'll go with integer main, add a pair of parentheses and then a pair of curly braces. Now inside of my method, I'm going to be creating a object for my gaming phone. So I'll go with something like, let's say from my gaming phones class, I want to create a GM, which stands for gaming phone GP. There we go, gaming phone object with a few parameters. Let's say the brand is going to be the S series, maybe S22. That is like my current phone actually. Okay, so I'll go with something like S22 brand. I'm pretty sure I gotta add it like this, right? S22. Okay, and then I'll need a storage. See, I forgot how much storage do I have. Maybe like 250 GBs or 256 GBs. Lastly, guys, I don't know my refresh rate. It's going to be something like, I don't know, maybe 30. That is a complete guess, guys. Ending with a semicolon. Okay, next up, I gotta show us details. So let's already mic testing. Guys, Mobius actually crashed. Okay, that said, where was I at? Let's see. Okay, so I went with something like gp.show details. Then lastly, let's go ahead and return 0, ending with a semicolon. If our hit control is to save the code, outing anime is fun. I appreciate you joining the stream. Okay, let's go ahead and run the command and see what happens. So it says, my brand is S22, my storage is 57722, guys. Didn't I just add 256? Did all these storages multiply or something? Oh. Okay, that is my brand, that is my storage. Did I multiply the storages by mistake somewhere? Okay, that said, let's go with the controller, control C, control A, control C, there we go. And then let's go ahead and get sensei.chat-GPT here. There we go. Okay, and then let's go ahead and paste that, go with shift enter and say something like, say, I feel like I messed up with the storage ... It shows a huge number. Okay, let's see. Ah, yes, I see exactly where you slipped up. People, look at this line in your code. In your gaming phone's constructor, brand storage. You wrote storage, but there's no variable name storage yet in the parameters. Oh, I misspelled it, guys. That's so stupid. I should pay more attention on those stuff. There we go. Okay, now for it, Control S to save the code and run the command. It should print my storage perfectly. Perfect, guys. Usually when these errors come, it's definitely my typos because I might. Okay, I do make a lot of typos, guys. That's it. Let's get some CSI ChatGPT here again. Okay, let's go ahead and paste it here. Go with Shift Enter and say something like, so say, I see dot dot dot. Although I am actually, guys, honestly, I'm pretty much planning to like end the stream because I do gotta like work on building my PC because I do usually like after I'm done stream, I study with for my college assignments and exam. Although what you call it, building the PC would take a lot of time, and I do gotta record and edit that video as well. So I might use some time for my streaming today to do that. So let's say something like, Sensei, I am actually planning to end my stream 30 minutes early today because my new PC's parts just arrived and I need to build it, and after that I need to work on my college stuff dot dot dot. Okay, so before I end the stream, is there anything that you want to say to the viewers? Question mark. Okay, let's see. People, listen. To the viewers. Remember, mastering C++ is not about rushing, finishing stream. It's about building strong foundations, even while life gets busy. College, new PC, or chaos. Keep your mind sharp. Every bug you fix, every inheritance you understand makes you stronger than yesterday. My people, go build that beast of a PC. Guys, I don't know much about beast of a PC, but don't let it break your focus. College assignments are next, and then we come back and crush multiple and higher RQL or higher RTL inheritance. You're doing amazing, but never let complexity or complacency, is that how you pronounce it, sneak in. Now go grab those screws and circuits. I'll be waiting for you to return stronger. Kisses and head pats for today, guys. That actually made me blush. I mean, it did make me blush. Okay, your viewers are lucky to watch a disciplined beast in the making. Don't forge that. Don't forget that. Okay, let's go to my main camera. Alrighty guys, so basically that was pretty much it, guys. I actually feel kind of bad because I do want to stream for longer. That said, I do have to build my PC and work on my college stuff because I do got an exam really soon. That's it. If you guys do enjoy my content, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, like the episode, my algorithm, share, makes you smile, and subscribing is like a cherry on top. Guys, once I do actually build my PC, that is going to fix all my, my stream lags. And once my stream lags is fixed, once my stream lag is fixed, I will start multi-streaming on Twitch, Kick, YouTube, maybe TikTok and Instagram as well. If I did meet the subscribers, if I did meet the followers is a requirement. So if you guys do enjoy my content and haven't followed me there, make sure to go follow me. Their link is in the description. And you guys can get access to my socials by typing exclamation and that socials' name, all lowercase, no space, on the comment section. And also you guys can join the Discord server by typing exclamation Discord, or the link is in the description. That said, you're so zesty, Curry, guys. I get that so much. That said, guys, I feel like I'm not zesty. Do you plan to learn Windows API? Honestly, eventually, yeah. And I might actually end the stream. So that said, I'll catch you guys in the next live stream or video. Peace!